Going for a little walk. It's not too bad out. A little cold, but we're gonna go for a little walk. And apparently it's 12 o'clock in the town center. Hey, I gotta put on my gloves because it's cold outside. So, beautiful day for a walk. I love it. I miss it. I missed it. You know, being out on the West Coast, it's beautiful out there. It's great. I highly recommend everybody go see everything as much as they can. We got one life to live, but there's still something that is calling me back home. And it's like, I don't know if it's the processing that I've been doing that maybe needed to happen, or just being here in an environment that I know and love and that feels not safe, but yeah, like, I don't know. There's stuff that I missed about just the variety of trees that we have out here, and you know, snow. And yeah, I was in places that was going to get snow. I was in Shasta for a while. I was in Tahoe for a while. But there's just something, I don't know, there's something about your home field, I guess. You know, it's like, that just feels right. And maybe just for me, but either way, it just feels so good to be back home. The warm sun on my face on a very cold day. But either way, figured I'd go for a little walk and talk about, I think, commitment, or I guess considering we're, December 27th? Let's talk about, we'll call it a resolution. But I think that word kind of has a negative connotation anymore, because everybody is anti-resolution because you kind of end up being a failure at some point. You know, when you make all of these awesome resolutions with the best of intentions at the beginning of the year, and by February you've already fallen off, it's like you're just reinforcing this feeling of being a failure. And I don't think we need that in our lives, more than what we already do that to ourselves. So let's find a way to maybe reframe that. And I guess, yeah, like a lot has been coming up for me. And I feel like I was doing this so consistently when I was living in my car, and then it kind of started falling off, and I couldn't tell why. I couldn't see what this stagnant energy was. And maybe I still don't quite have it worked out, but I kind of heard something the other day of, you know, it's almost like this sense of when you're doing, like, I'll call it like deep spiritual work, but like uncovering a lot of shit about yourself. Like how I'm like deep spiritual and then uncovering a lot of shit. So the layman's terms are uncovering a lot of shit about yourself. It gets to the point where maybe you don't, like me, I feel excited. Like when, you know, even on some really tough days, you're just like, what is going on? Why do I keep crying? Why, when does it get easier? When does it get easier? But still, like, there's something, I'll call it sadistic, but it's like something like exciting about, finally, I'm getting to unearth some of these things. It's going to be hard for right now, but then I'm going to feel so good afterward. And that's usually the case. But I feel like there's something really deep down inside. No, actually, let's call it more superficial. It's the ego, I feel, gets to the point where it's just like, mayday, mayday, mayday. Too much stuff is being unearthed right now, or too much stuff that not even right now. I don't, the ego wants to keep you safe, wants to keep you the same. And totally understandable, totally respectable. But it's like, in some ways, the ego, I think, senses the fact that you are on this path of uncovering all of this deep shit about yourself, about everything, about life, about your ancestors, about traits that you've picked up, shit that you carry around that you don't even know how the hell you got it. Let's see how many curse words I can use 2 days after Christmas. But I think that's where the stagnant energy comes in. Is like, one, I have two trains of thought here. I have two trains of thought, because you can't see twos. It's like uncovering all of this deep-rooted shit is unearthing, let's call it energy, negative energy, heavy energy, energy you don't need anymore. And with that removal, it's like, you have to replace that with some good energy, things that fill you up, or just even, and not just even, rest. And so it's like everything that you pour out, replacing. And train number thought 2 is gone. So, derailed. But maybe it'll come back. And, but yeah, it's like, I think your ego gets scared and tries to pump the brakes because it doesn't want to keep doing this. And so that's all the stagnant energy that I was feeling. And honestly, even when I was doing this more consistently, 2 or 3 months ago, maybe longer, I don't know. Anyway, it's like allowing, like there was times that I felt stagnant energy there too. And I'm like, what is going on? Why does this feel like such a slog? And maybe it is. Maybe you just unearthed so much energy and haven't been replacing it appropriately. Taking the amount of downtime. Or, I think for a while I was feeling like it wasn't fulfilling. It was just like putting out a video to put out a video, because I was guilting myself. I hadn't put out a video. And it's like doing it with heart. And actually, anyway, so I think that's a little backstory, but I'm coming to this idea of like, I had just recently heard that, it's like you commit to something, and already within like a week or two or a month or something like that, you start to notice like, I'm busy that night. If you commit to yoga once a week or something, I'm busy that night, or, oh yeah, I'm really tired. Like all of a sudden you become really tired, and respecting that, there could be something that it's showing you. But the thing that I had heard was just like to recognize that and continue to push through, because it's almost like your ego knows you, like for these videos, for example, I have something to say. I feel it's pretty valuable. And maybe some of you do as well. But it's like, I feel like maybe that is daunting or scary, or, that I'm maybe making a difference, or that I'm slowly shifting consciousness or something. And that's kind of scary. I don't know, like exciting, but scary. And either way, all of this to say is like setting small goals for yourself, setting like what feels good in your body, what feels exciting, and at one point this really did feel super exciting. And recently now it's kind of like coming back around. But, the narrative in my mind is, oh, well, you took too much time off. Nobody's really watching anymore, and nobody really cares. And they think that you, are kind of a failure because you backed away from it. But maybe that's true. guess what? We're going to find out. And I'm just going to commit to myself to do one a week. And I feel like I can do that. And see what comes up, and keep pushing through even during the hardest times, and maybe do extras during the best of times, I'll call it. But all of that to say is, like, let's talk about resolutions or commitment, to yourself. And it doesn't have to be something where, like I said, I was doing this almost daily. I feel like, I don't remember, I'd have to go back, maybe every other day. And now I'm maybe doing it every other month. We're close to monthly. And it's like that narrative of being a failure is there in the background of, like, you haven't been successful. You told yourself you wanted to do this daily. And now here you are having maybe once a month, and so now you're a failure. It's like any way my ego can stamp on the natural line of thinking, the story that I've told myself for so long. Like, this is why I don't start things like this, because I don't want to fail at things like this. And rewriting that. It's like, I can post a video a year and I'm still succeeding. Or never post a video again and walk away from this. I'm not a failure. Start rewriting that narrative and start, like, reinforcing the positive, of, like, all of the daily things that you have done that maybe are a little different than how you did it before. And maybe different is scary and you're going to screw it up. Oh my gosh. In this last month, I took myself, because I love baking. I mean, I had a TikTok account, and every once in a while I put out, like, quick little, whatever you call them, video shorts of me baking sourdough bread. Anyway, I love baking. And I watched every baking show, the holiday baking show known to man this winter. And I feel like that's where a lot of the processes were, was the fact that I didn't want to actually sit down with myself. Anyway, but it's like I took myself to a baking class to make macarons, and they turned out terrible. They cracked, and they were way too, like, I made a buttercream icing and it was just way too sweet. But like, it's like, in theory, it's like, I've had macarons before and they're amazing, and I'm like, I'm gonna make them, so they're gonna be awesome. And they turned out terrible. And right there, normal Ashley would be like, the normal Ashley, meaning the Ashley of before, would have been like, all right, well, it takes too much time. I don't want to have to buy all that stuff in order to fail again, essentially. And it's like, no, just like, that was an awesome experience. And now when I do it again, now I know what I did wrong. And every time I make a failed loaf of sourdough bread, I go through this, woe is me. And, I wasted all of those ingredients and all that time, and now whatever. But it's like, but I learned. And that's what you keep doing. It's like let's get to a point where we're growing 1%, changing 1% every day, even less, 0.5%, but in the course of a year, look at all the small little micro changes that we've made into maybe some big changes. And so, like, for me, it's maybe committing to these videos, because at the end of the day, I do love doing this. I love doing the deep dive on myself. Yeah, we're going with it. I love doing that. I love figuring things out. It's like a puzzle to me. And I actually like puzzles. They're kind of frustrating to me because it takes too long and a lot of the pieces look the same. But that's beside the point. It's like, I love figuring this stuff out. It's so exciting to me. And when it clicks into place, when it finally makes sense, it just feels so good. It feels so rewarding to me. And so I'm like, why am I taking this away from myself? Just because I'm scared of that I haven't done it in a while, or, and not a while. I do it every day. I just don't make videos for it. Anyway, it's like recognizing the ways in which I as in little I, my ego, is trying to stop me from doing the things that right now I feel excited about and have since I started this journey, and just learning how things work, learning why they work and how I tick. Yeah, we're going with it. There's a lot of just making shit up here on the spot, but for your viewing pleasure. But anyway, small, little, tiny goal. Instead of making resolutions that maybe by February you've already quote unquote failed, quote unquote. I should get sock puppets, right? Oh, that would be so fun. Sock puppets. Instead of making these huge goals of I'm gonna work out every single day and by February I'm already gonna be 10 pounds down, and maybe you do succeed at that, but how sustainable is that and how fun is that? It's not. So it's like pretty much making a resolution that every day you make small little micro awareness changes with awareness, where you're kind of just aware of, oh, there's that pattern again of whatever, living in scarcity mode, or living with, this fear that I'm not enough, or, and maybe you don't recognize them at first, but just be curious even. Living in curiosity is great too, of like, why do I do that? Why do I bake 40 English muffins for Christmas just so that I have something to give everybody, but not that I hate doing it, but it got to the point where I was just like, why am I doing this? And I think it's to have love and appreciation from everybody. So, but being aware of it and making small little micro changes with awareness, and you're never going to fail. You're never going to fail your resolution if that's your resolution. It's like, and some days, micro changes could look like, you know what, I don't feel like doing anything, but I'm going to go make a video. Or I'm going to go do some yoga, even though like I don't feel like doing anything. I'd rather just sit here on the couch. It feels comfy, and maybe go sit on the couch afterward and eat all the cookies that are still there. But maybe do one little thing that is outside your comfort zone, something that you wouldn't have typically done, or even just put some boots on and go walk outside even though it's cold and it's 10 o'clock at night and it's blowing. It's something that you wouldn't have done otherwise. And I think those little tiny accumulations of, I'll call it stress, outside of your routine comfort zone, I think is what over time builds up. And it's not like, yes, if I had my magic wand with me, I would, well, let's change by next week. Let's figure this all out so we don't have to think about it anymore. Yay. But I think really what it is, like I said, those tiny little stresses over time make actual changes. And it like shows your body it's okay to do things that are somewhat uncomfortable, somewhat out of the norm of coming home, collapsing on the couch and watching, whatever, streaming your favorite holiday Christmas movies and hoping that one day Prince Charming will come for me in Scotland with an accent. Anyway, let's do it. Let's do these little changes, micro changes, and see where we're at in a year. Let's reconvene December 27th, 2025, and recap. That sounds great, because that means I'm still going to be making videos so that you guys know what happened. And maybe by then I'll be able to do that. And at the end of this video, check out this video, and then it pops up, the 2024. So there's another little side quest. Or I find some smart Gen Zer that knows how to do that, or a Gen Alpha by that point, and be like, hey guys, actually I don't even know what age are they. They're probably preschool, but they probably know how to use the phone better than I do. So let's do this. Let's commit to ourselves, you know, to free ourselves a little bit more this upcoming year, and to make these very small, uncomfortable changes. It doesn't have to be like moving into your car within a week's time and living life out of a car, and, you know, like, it doesn't have to be that drastic. And as I found out again, you know, when it is that drastic, it gets to the point where it just really wears on your soul. But maybe these tiny little hair follicle micro changes, you know, it'll make the adaptions more comfortable. And it's not adaptions, it's probably adaptations, but tomato, tomato. All right. I think that's all I got to say about that. So I think I'm gonna treat myself to an awesome cup of coffee back at the cute little coffee shop that's in town here. And yeah, I think let's make this a thing. And I'm gonna get back on and read all the comments for the last like 3 months, I promise. So if you have any comments, leave them in the comment section below. If you like what I have to say, click like, click subscribe, and let's effing do this. 2025 and YouTubers. Taking off the gloves for this. All right, so yeah, Ashley out for the year, I think. See yous. Thank you for being with me, by the way. You guys are great encouragement. You guys are the reason I'm making this video right now. Well, actually, I'm making it for me, but in a way, it's for you too. Love you all. Appreciate you all. See you later. So, for those of you who noticed my hat, this was my favorite hat, by the way. Had this hat for like a decade. And the other day, I was outside, snow, put it on the radiator to dry, and so I don't know what to do about that yet, because this is my favorite hat. I'm thinking about putting it on the radiator and trying to get it all yellow, but I do miss the green. Womp womp. Or get it really yellow and then dye it a color. But I have so many projects that I thought I was going to dye, and I haven't. So, all right. See you guys.